Hey, thanks for joining Sales with Suli, a mom of three who spent the last 12 summers knocking doors. Welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things women, the ups and downs of my journey, and what it takes to find success on and off the doors. Enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode. It's just going to be me today. Sales with Suli is going to be with me, and all I'm going to be doing today is just answering a lot of questions that I haven't been able to get to, or people have been texting me or calling. And so I just want to apologize for those of you I haven't gotten around to as far as like giving you a call to talk about specific questions and things like that. So I am going to take some time and answer a few of them today. I feel like in every season, there's different questions that people are going to reach out to me about. So I'm going to kind of address some of them. So the first question is, how do you deal with all the emotions that women bring to the table? And I am going to be the first to say I am one of the most emotional people on this planet. Before I had my third son, I feel like it was super easy for me to suppress my emotions. And just kind of, I definitely related to the men more in the sense of just get up, just keep going, do your thing. Don't even, like, there's no such thing as feelings. And over the last 3 years, as I've just done a ton of work on myself, I feel like I can't even like have an argument with a guy or anyone in general without crying or without feeling some type of emotion. There's even like times where I don't even want to address male leaders in person because I know that I'm going to flat out cry as opposed to texting them. And so I want to say that I am still a work in progress, and I'm not perfect when it comes to, managing emotions, but I have had some tools and some things that has just helped me over the years to be able to handle my emotions as well as the emotions of members of my team as well. And one of those things and how I'm able to manage my own personal emotions is simply focusing on the things that I can control. I'm definitely a control freak. I'm OCD in the sense of like, if someone else can't do it, I'm just going to do everything, myself. And that ends up being draining in itself. But when I talk about the controllables, I'm meaning I can control what time I wake up each day. I can control what my personal study is going to look like in the mornings. I can control what time I'm showing up to morning meetings. I can control what time I'm getting out there to area. I can't control what the neighborhood's going to look like. I can't control what homeowners are going to be saying to me, but what I can control is how many doors that I am going to knock. I can control my reaction towards a homeowner if they are negative. So with that being said, I do have outlets as well for managing my emotions, such as journaling, such as reading, such as podcasts. I use my car as an office on a regular basis. So in the mornings when I'm working out, I'm either listening to real estate podcast or motivational podcast just to get my mind thinking and dwelling on positive things, because I know that I'm in such a negative industry in the sense that we deal with rejection and objections on a regular basis. I want my mind to be able to quickly notate some of the things that I've been like listening to that morning, or reference back to the list of things that I'm writing out in the mornings about how grateful that I am. And because I have such a set schedule in the mornings in the sense of like what I'm feeding my brain, what I'm feeding my mind, my body, and my soul, it makes it a lot easier for me to manage some of the non-controllables that happen when I'm out there on the doors. How do you deal with your hair as an ethnic woman in this space? So as you guys can see today, or if you're not watching the YouTube version of this, and if you're just listening to it, I have my hair in braids. And my Anarisa, my daughter, whenever she sees this hairstyle, she's like, oh, mom's got her money hair in. And what that means is like one of the controllables is not having to worry about my hair as a half black woman here in the door-to-door space. it's kind of funny, the little things that we don't think about that becomes like a big issue for us when we're out there. And so with me, I have really kinky, thick hair. And so to be able to manage it during the summer, it would take a lot. So for those of you, ethnic women out there, especially like African American women, I would suggest individual braids. So what I do when I get into a city is, well, my husband does it, but he will find a local braider. He will find, he'll go on Facebook, he'll go on like Marketplace, he'll go on Booksy, and he'll just type in individual box braids. And so what we do with those people is we set an appointment for every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks, I'm just getting my hair braided for the next 5 months, and I'm not thinking about it. It's just simple. So I don't have to do my hair for 6 weeks, and then I'm going to take my hair down at the end of the 6 weeks. My appointment has already been set. I redo my hair and I move on. A lot of times, and I know how important, if we look good, we feel good. And that's why this year I'm spending a lot of time in the gym, not to weigh myself, not to lose weight, or I mean, that would be nice, but it's how I feel. It's those endorphins that make me feel good about myself. And I know for us Black women, our hair, we want to feel good about our hair as well. But for those of you who aren't African American, and for those of you women who like to spend time on your hair, I would just say we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And so if you know that you take a lot of time, that you need a lot of time to get your hair done, you have to set a hair routine every single day and stick to it. If it takes you 2 hours, I guess you're going to have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning just to be able to get your hair done. But I'd say stick to the simple looks. When we're out there on the doors, we don't want to put off the wrong impressions. Like the bun look is awesome. It's simple, like just putting your hair in a ponytail or getting like the braids. The more simple that we keep our hair, the less that we have to think about. Like, it's just going to be a lot easier for you out there. The next question, how do you deal with the highs and the lows of sales? In one of my episodes, I talk about compartmentalizing. And I still have my low days and I still have my high days. But over the last few years, I have been learning how to simply just remove the emotion out of sales. In the sense, selling is a very emotional thing. And what I say by like moving the emotions is like, our morning meetings is rah, rah, shish kumbah, like that's only going to last 10, 15 seconds. Having an energy drink, that's going to last like 30 to 1 hour to 2 hours max. Like, we're not going to have 8 energy drinks a day to just, keep us high and then have to deal with those crashes. So what I have been able to learn and teach myself as far as like taking the emotion out of it is like, when I do get a sale, it's not like, oh my gosh, I got a sale. When I do get a cancel, it's not like, oh my gosh, I had like a freaking like cancel. I'm like dwelling on it. I'm doing all these. It's simply, that sucks. What can I do to improve on the next sale? What can I do better? Even when I do get a sale, it's like, great, that's one down. I need to focus on the next one, like every single time. And so I do create a space and a time for myself to be able to have those feelings. And while knocking is not it. You're only going to waste your time. You're only going to waste the time. You're only going to waste your area. You're only going to be taking away time from your card partners. So a lot of time, especially as a leader, right now I have to set alarms in my phone for 11 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight even, as a reminder of like, hey, you felt this way earlier today. Let's address that. And so I'll look at the alarm and I'm like, yeah, those emotions were really tough during that time. And I'll cry about it. I'll whine about it. I'll complain about it. But the alarm is over. And so I do in the mornings or like way late in the evenings, I will set aside time to be able to go over what some of my emotions are. But because I've done that on a constant, regular basis, I'm not so high and so low throughout the day while I'm out there. So a suggestion or pro tip is, yes, know that we are humans. We are definitely not robots, but there is definitely a place and a time for our emotions. And being in the door-to-door space, it is super emotional. But the more that you practice setting aside time to dwell and ask yourself questions about why you felt the way that you did, the easier it's going to be to keep moving forward to the next store. Another question someone asked me, how do you approach a leader who is so defensive and hard to talk to? To be fair, this is going to be for leaders, male and female, because I know that I'm probably hard to approach. And I've even heard it from my own reps. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're just like, so go, go, go. You either don't have time, or it's just, I do feel the defensive,ness. And so for those of us leaders here in the space, and I just recognized this the other day as I had brought up like an issue to a leader, just how easy it is for us to defend ourselves. And for those of you guys who are having a hard time being able to approach your leaders, start asking yourself, why can't you approach your leaders? Like, why is it that, we can't simply shoot them a text, or, hey, can I have a conversation with you when you do have some space and some time? So for those of you guys who are nervous about speaking up to your leaders and to your managers, it's going to continue to be fearful and scary if you don't just take that step and shooting them a text, or even writing them an email and saying like, hey, when can we sit down and have a conversation? But for those of us leaders here in this space, it's like, what are we doing to be able to create an environment to where reps on the team can address some of the issues? And so what I have recognized that I need to do personally, because I do get defensive, and I can still be emotional, is I make sure at the in every single month during the summer, that I pull the rep out individually, one-on-one, and I ask prying questions. What can I do as a manager to improve? What can we do as a company to improve? What can I do personally to help you? What are some things that you can do personally to help us? How can you add value to the team? And so I've recognized, as I have created questions to be able to provide in our one-on-one meetings with each of my reps, they've been able to open up and simply, let me know some of the things that they would like for me to work on. And so I would suggest to those of you leaders out there, is making the time to be with your reps on the doors. I have over 30 reps, and just the other day I was like, holy cow, I need to go and spend one-on-one time with them on the doors, because I know when I am out there, they just open up a lot more. And we're going to make time for things that are important to us. And if having a conversation and being level-headed with your reps is important, you'll make time. And I know for me that I've recognized some of my weaknesses, and that means taking the time to allow space for my reps to be able to address some of those concerns. So again, for those of you women who are having a hard time reaching out to your leaders or reaching out to your managers, you just have to. We are in a hard job, and if you can't be on the same page as your manager or your leader, what's the point? Okay. 2 more questions. What's the reason behind the female knockers page? Pretty sure that was a guy who asked that question. So when I started Female Knockers, like over a year ago, so I transitioned from the pest control industry to solar. But when I first started in the door-to-door space, it was just like, I felt like dog eat dog world. I mean, it still is, but I bought into that mindset and like, just being like so selfish minded and like, okay, no, there's only space at the top for me. Like, no, I'm not going to share any tips with this person. No, I'm not going to give my time to this person, who's trying to be better than me. And just over the last few years, I've just recognized like how much better this space has felt when people who don't even know me are cheering for me. And I recognize that our family members and people closest to us are going to be our biggest critics. And so for me, I'm not the best in social media, and my media team is always like complaining about my grammar, and so is my husband, but I don't care. For me, it's just like the connection with women and people who aren't even on the same team with me has been amazing. To be able to simply have someone say, holy cow, Suli, you are awesome, keep going, it motivated me. And I was like, why don't I create a bridge or a space where I am uplifting women who aren't even on my team? that I'm uplifting women who don't even belong in my company or my industry. And I don't know what type of difference it's going to make. I see the differences from people like reaching out, but I know that if this becomes a new normal for us women, where we are cheering for each other, where we are there for each other, it doesn't matter what shirt, what industry, if we aren't finding envy or jealousy, just how much space there is at the top for every single one of us, I knew I had to start somewhere. Like so many of us are coming with problems and complaints and emotions about our company, about our space, about our managers, about this industry. And so for me, it was like, why don't I start something that I want to see? It's the same thing why I have this podcast. I feel like that there aren't any episodes, for women, that there's no one out there like simply talking to female women who are in the sales industry. And so I found a problem and found a solution. And so that's basically the simplicity of behind the scenes of Female Knockers, is I just want to be able to uplift you. I want people to be able to uplift me. I just want us to be able to uplift each other and create a space and an environment for other women to be a part of this space. Last question. How do you manage your money? How do you get out of debt and invest? So this is a loaded question, but I'll give a couple of simple things. When my husband and I first started in the door-to-door industry, we didn't have a ton of money. My husband had debt previously. We had some debt, and so I was a big, firm believer of Dave Ramsey. I believe in him for getting out of debt. That's about it. And so we did that. Basically, we would set goals during the summer of like, okay, when we do the X amount of sales, we're going to put that towards getting rid of this type of debt. And so a lot of our goals and like our plans and our vision boards, like during that summer, it was for that season. So our first few years in door-to-door, the season was getting out of debt and creating an emergency fund. So we did that for one season. The next step was being able to like manage. And so Walter, so my husband, he is just really good he's just so patient. I was so OCD about like money and just basically like saving everything and not putting anything away and just keeping it all in the bank account and just like letting it grow. If you guys haven't listened to this episode by Grant Cardone, where he talks about how like wealthy millionaires, they play offense with their money instead of defense. That was like a game changer for me. So one of the seasons I was playing defense in the sense that I come from a family where you live paycheck to paycheck. Like money is just, it's scarce. And so having and coming from that environment and that space, I had the same energy towards money where I was like hanging on to all of it and thinking that it was just going to be going away. And so my money just sat around for years and, not even duplicating itself. And of course, it would help family and we were out of debt. And then I started creating a better circle. I started getting involved or building relationships with people who understood money. I got a financial coach. I got a mentor. I started being in circles with people who were doing things that I wanted to do with passive income and investing, and I paid them for their time. I know some people out there are like, well, why would you like pay a coach? Why would you pay a life? Why would you pay this person when you can just go get all the information for free? It's true. Like you can go and get whatever information that you want, like for free if you sit down and do the research. But for me, being able to have people physically follow up with me like, hey, did you do this step? Like, hey, I've got this investment. Do you want to invest? And so that's the importance for me and how I got into the wealthy, offensive mindset is I started getting involved with groups of people who knew how to invest. And so if you have a circle where everyone around you is broke and nobody knows how to invest and nobody has passive income, you need to broaden your circle. You need to be putting yourself in situations and places where those people are going to want to educate you. People with money, like their time is so valuable to them. My time is so valuable to me in the sense of like, I have created a system in my life to where I can just focus on one thing. Like, I have an assistant who takes care of the majority of stuff in my life. My husband takes care of like managing our finances and investing. Like, we have a media team who runs our page and takes care of those things, because I want to play in the offense in the sense of like, how many more sales or how many more deals can I get to go and put that towards another investment? If we aren't thinking beyond door to door, we're gonna be so simple-minded and we're gonna feel stuck. So go ahead and some advice that I would suggest to those of you guys with the money questions is looking at your guys' life and seasons. So right now, if you've got a ton of debt, all you need to be focusing on is how many deals that you need to get rid of that debt. That's it. You're not talking about investing. You're not talking about passive income. You're not doing any of those things. You're getting out of debt. Once you're out of debt, now you're going to be in the mindset, okay, how many deals do I need to get to be able to invest in this property or to be able to invest with this? Well, even before that, I would suggest getting a coach, a life coach, a health coach, a financial coach, a coach or a mentor who is just in a place that you want to be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. And if you stick to those three things, you're going to be a woman of power. You're going to be able to accomplish your visions and your goals and your dreams when you're being accountable and having other people in your corner, as opposed to just trying to do everything for free and do it yourself. I used to have like a poor mindset of doing everything for free and doing coupons. I mean, I'm still kind of cheap, but not where it counts. And where investing and passive income counts, I'm grateful for the money that I have to be able to spend on a great tax accountant and on a financial coach. So thank you, ladies, for the questions that you guys have put out there. Again, I'm sorry to those of you guys that we aren't able to get back to. As more questions come in, I'll do these Q&As on a regular basis. But thanks for your guys' feedback. I'll see you next time. Thanks for taking the time to tune in. If I've added any kind of value to your thoughts on knocking doors, please share this podcast with another female rep. Until next time, know that you are capable, you are valued, and most importantly, you are enough.